was my only path to a life worth remembering. Death isn't frightening when weighted against an insignificant existence. An insignificant existence. That is from The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which is book 1 in the Crowns of Neaxia series. And I have a few others from that book, I think. Okay. His eyes returned, blinked, fell to mine. I can't take credit for everything that you've become, Aurea, even if sometimes I wish I could. But if I'm responsible for just one small piece of that, it will have been the greatest accomplishment of my life. My father loved me, I knew this, but he loved me in spite of what I was. Loved the parts of me that he could make like him. Loved the parts of me that he could shift. My Mina wouldn't be that stupid. I stroked a tangled lock of hair behind her ear, brushed my thumb over her temple. You think too highly of me. I am a fool for you. One thing I'm sure Colburn will never understand is that I need language to live, like food, lexemes and morphemes and morsels of meaning nourish me with the knowledge that yes, there is a word for this. Someone else has felt this before. That's from If We Were Villains by ML Rio. This is from Daisy Hates. This is by Jessa Hastings. Okay, I nod once. You missed me, and Romeo starts laughing, and I love it when I make him laugh. There was once a time in our lives when I treated that like it was my full-time job. The most important thing to remember was that to be at the rear, to be slower, did not mean that you were not a leader. Know My Name by Chanel Miller. There's a few more from Know My Name. They seemed angry that I'd made myself vulnerable, more than the fact that he'd acted on my vulnerability. In this crime, pain could be disguised and confused as pleasure. Groping others was not a natural reflex, biologically built in. When did it become our job to do all the preventing and managing? Their behavior was the constant, while we were the variable expected to change. We are designed to bend and fold, to comfort ourselves and each other. I drank to turn off the light, a pocket of death, a toe dip in and out again, with the promise of awakening. Loving someone is a painful thing. When a woman is assaulted, one of the first questions people ask is, "Did you say no?" This question assumes that the answer was always yes, and that it is her job to revoke the agreement, to defuse the bomb she was given. But why are they allowed to touch us until we physically fight them off? Why is the door open until we have to slam it shut? Walking down the street was like being tossed bombs. I fiddled with the wires, frantically diffusing each one. Each time I was not sure which wire would cause it to detonate, tinkering while sweat ran down my forehead. Women are raised to work with dexterity, to keep their nimble This is a good quote for why Chanel Miller wrote her book. I do not write to trigger victims. I write to comfort them, and I found that victims identify more with pain than platitudes. If I have forgiven him, it's not because I'm holy. It's because I need to clear space inside myself where hard feelings can be put to rest. Winning is accepting that there are some races a person cannot win. That's from Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. What could I become if I stopped worrying about death, about pain, about anything? If I stopped trying to belong? Instead of being afraid, I could become something. I decided that I'm also going to read some poems that I like. I actually want to get into poetry a little bit more. I haven't read any poetry for years, actually. This book is Milk and Honey by Rabi Kaur, and it's a very popular poetry book that I read right around when it came out, and for now, that is all the sort of poetry that I have available. But I would like to do some videos where I am whispering like Shakespeare or just older poetry. Let me know if you have any recommendations. This is the journey of surviving through poetry. This is the blood, sweat, tears of 21 years. This is my heart in your hands. This is the hurting, the loving, the breaking, the healing. Rabi Kaur. I want to apologize to all the women I have called pretty before I've called them intelligent or brave. I am sorry I made it sound as though something as simple as what you're born with is the most you have to be proud of, when your spirit has crushed mountains. From now on, I will say things like you are resilient or you are extraordinary. Not because I don't think you're pretty, but because you are so much more than that. You might not have been my first love, but you're the love that made all the other loves irrelevant. I do not want to have you to fill the empty parts of me. I want to be full on my own. I want to be so complete I could light a whole city. And then I want to have you, because the two of us combined could set it on fire. I have what I have, and I am happy. spring